English grammar can often be frustrating to learn because it seems so illogical. But because language is created by humans, it always has a logical explanation. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to learn 5 key parts of English grammar using simple pictures, which will help you remember them forever. Let's start by talking about adjectives. In English, many adjectives have 2 forms, one ending with ing and the other ending in ed. For example, he is bored, he is boring, and she is interested, she is interesting. This image quickly explains the difference between the 2 adjectives. Adjectives that end in ed are internal effects. So, being bored or interested are emotions that I feel inside myself. And adjectives that end in ing are the external things that cause those effects. External things might be a book, a party, or even another person. So, a film might be boring and a friend might be interesting. Simple, right? Now let's look at the next image. This is a really important image because there is so much misinformation about this fundamental part of English grammar. In English, we have something called the perfect aspect, which is formed by using the auxiliary verb have with another verb. For example, I have studied English since 2010. I had eaten too many pizzas. She will have passed her exam. The image shows that if you see the perfect aspect, it simply means before. Let's go back and look at those 3 sentences again in more detail. In this sentence, we can see that the auxiliary verb have is in the present tense. So that means that the verb study is before the present time. So it means that at some time before now, I studied. Okay, let's look at the next one. Here we can see that the auxiliary verb is in the past tense. So that means that the verb eat is before the past. So before some other time or event in the past, I ate too many pizzas. And finally, here we can see that the auxiliary verb is in the future. So that means that the verb pass is before the future. So before some other time or event in the future, she will pass her exam. So the perfect aspect means before, and that is the only thing it means. And this is where there is a lot of misinformation. The perfect aspect does not mean that the action of the verb is continuing or that the action of the verb is close in time. For example, if I say, I have studied English, this does not mean that I am continuing to study English or that I studied English recently. We can only know these things from context. Okay, let's look at the next image. You're probably thinking, what does McDonald's have to do with learning English? Please pay special attention to the tagline, I'm loving it. As a student, you might have heard of stative and active verbs. Examples of stative verbs include think, want, feel, and love, which should not be used as gerunds with ing. But as you can see, the whole concept is false and has no basis in reality. But the image is important because it answers a very common question from students about the difference between verbs with ing and verbs with to. For example, I like eating pizza. I like to eat pizza. What's the difference? The answer is actually very simple. In English grammar, verbs with ing indicate that something is in progress, and verbs with to indicate a future possibility. This means that the two options communicate slightly different meanings to others. I like eating pizza communicates that eating pizza is part of your everyday experiences. It's something in progress in your life at the present time. That's why McDonald's uses I'm loving it to give you that exact feeling. I like to eat pizza creates a totally different feeling. It communicates that eating pizza is more like a distant, possible future experience. So, if you like pizza and you eat it every Friday night, you might want to use I like eating pizza. And if you like pizza, but you only eat it once per year, you might want to use I like to eat pizza. Now, let's look at something that everybody likes. Dogs. This image explains how articles like a and the work in English. If your native language doesn't have articles or uses articles in a different way, then this can seem complex, but I promise it's not. The first thing to realize is that a and an evolved from the number 1. So a or an will always indicate a singular thing. For example, I want an orange is correct. I want an oranges is not correct. But what if you want to use a plural noun? In that case, you don't use any article. For example, I want oranges. I have scissors. The article the is much easier to use. You can use it for both singular and plural nouns. For example, I want the orange. I have the scissors. Now let's talk about the difference in meaning. Using no article or a or an indicates a general thing. Using the indicates a specific thing. Let's look at that image again. If I say I want a dog, it means that I want one dog, but not a specific dog. If I say I want the dog, it means that I want one dog and I want this specific dog. This concept is very important in English because it often refers to shared information. For example, if I say the moon is beautiful tonight, that makes perfect sense because we all share the knowledge of the specific moon that is in our sky. But if I say the restaurant is fantastic, then we must also share the knowledge of a specific restaurant. But if it's the first time we have met and you don't know anything about the restaurant, then the sentence doesn't make any sense because you don't know the specific thing I am talking about. So English articles are a very efficient and powerful way to be specific or not. Finally, let's talk about adjectives again, using this image. This image shows the very simple formula that is used by the English language to create adjectives. Noun plus y equals adjective. For example, luck plus y equals lucky. Cloud plus y equals cloudy. Obviously, there are some exceptions, and the most frequent adjectives in English are irregular. But the reason this image is so important is because it invites you to be totally creative with language. Do you want to describe a flavor that's similar to milk? It's milky. Do you want to describe an animal that's similar to a bird? It's birdie. Do you want to describe a song that sounds like Shakira? It's Shakira-y. Now, if you think this seems ridiculous, I want you to remember something. This is exactly how all language is created, not just adjectives and not just English. The languages you speak right now are a result of generations of people playing and inventing. Being creative with language is the ultimate mark of respect, because a language that doesn't have people who modify and evolve the language is dead. So please use all of the images and grammar lessons from this video to help you be more Englishy in your next conversation. I'm Christian, this is Kangaroo English, and I'll see you in class.